Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the time where I'm going to hate myself for the most. This is season 0. I'm doing a recap of all the seasons. Because everybody keeps saying, what the fuck are you talking about with these insider references? They're not insider references, they're just people who've watched me long enough to know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I thought it would be nice in this ever prevailing time to justify why I believe I should be a leader in any community. And in order to do that, we got to make sure that what's going on in the background is the same as what I'm promoting out in the front. You know what I mean? Let's do it. Unedited until you're live. I'm going to be clicking a few of these videos, watching about a minute or two of each, because I already have the selection ready to go. And we're going to explain to you what I was talking about back then and what the fuck is going on now in the parallels and why you should probably have trusted me from the jump and started watching from season 1. Starting with the first video I ever made.
And I randomly thought about the fact that, like, I was thinking about how racism works on a scale. And I know that's weird. Why were you outside thinking about that? Because somewhere in my head, I was thinking about what happened between me and this former cop.
The police coming straight from the underground. A young nigga got it because I'm brown.
Now, I used to be very quick with like a folder, and I would have these memes set and ready when I would upload videos. The problem is that it went too, thank you for the hype train, it went too fucking fast for me to keep up having an assortment of different jokes and stuff to put in the video. And I realized with the speed at which I was uploading back then, there was no chance in hell I was going to be able to keep up with fresh jokes each video. I'd have to either slow down or I scour the internet for packs. Right after I made this video, I had made a decision. If I'm going to go with the season analytical story here, if I'm going to start streaming and I'm going to call these things interchangeable stories that you should pay attention to, the only way to properly make that thread happen was if everything was uniform to start. Because at least there I could just point to, as I'm literally about to do with you now, different phrases, different moments, different topics that would follow the thread. I didn't want the meta to be, oh, he put in a video, he put in a clip of somebody smoking a weed. That means we know what he doing. Like, it wasn't flowing for me.
I was going into Fordham, which I'll never do again, and I swear to God, I was looking for film locations because I was doing a Slenderman series at the time. No, was abandoned or whatever on a block full of really nice houses. So I'm going down to each house asking, do you know who owns it? Do you know the property dealers? Blah, blah, blah. Regular questions filmmakers asks. And then I get to the house right next to it. So I go and I just kind of peer my head, like it's all gated. So I just peer my head over the gate just to see what was in the back. I didn't go in or whatever. That's pretty simple to figure out and easy. And the lady come out, the lady in the house next to it, the one we skipped. I guess we shouldn't have skipped this. So she's looking at us, and I'm talking to her. I'm telling her, hey, I'm a filmmaker. Hey, I'm this, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for a place to shoot. Would you happen to know that? But before I can get to the third question, because she doesn't respond for the first two, she says, no, you are the guys who probably were out here vandalizing it these last few weeks.
Don't have to watch the rest of the video. This is part of the recap. This is why I chose to speak on the internet. Because I'd already made this a point of my personality because back then, I was working here, doing a wedding here. People were involved in my life to a degree where if I went missing for a day or two, it wasn't that I fucked off somewhere and I just disappeared. It's like, oh, something must have happened. You're not picking up your phone after I've called you 3 times? That's not normal. Something big must have happened. I had one person say, your father must have died. Because there's no way you, of all people, just are able to disappear. Too many people, too many obligations. I would be shit. I would have to be the worst. That would have had to been my heel turn day. This radicalized me, not towards leftward politics, not towards even, I want to say, politics at whole. This radicalized me And I'll tell you the reason why. It goes into the next video that I did a follow-up on this. A lot of people didn't know that I had this story still. And while I was in bookings, there was like one or two dudes who was like, yo, why you in here in a suit? Why you in here in a piece? Like, what they get you for? And I was like, I was literally just scouting film locations. I was chilling, you know. And it was like, you a teacher? There's like, what do you do? Are you a teacher? Yo, get this teacher out of here. The fuck are you doing here? And it was like a prevailing thought amongst a lot of the people who were like first questioning me because why am I dressed so nicely in fucking bookings? Like, you must have done some fucked up shit. And I'm not going to call this the solidarity movement. I'm not going to say, like, it just felt really weird to me that my life could have changed in an instant and I played the game correctly. I've already known that people play the game correctly and, like, get caught up and fucked up. I always knew it could happen to me. But when it happens to you, it brings about a reality of, like, wow. Here I am getting ready to go to, I forgot the place we was going to. It was somewhere deep. Here we are getting ready to go to a wedding, drive away 4 hours. I got my gear charging in here, and I'm just doing a little extra work before I head off. And all of a sudden, you in a cell. It's kind of crazy. I had always been a stalwart advocate of knowing how to approach situations like this, and I had that authority ripped from me. And knowing that it could happen and watching it happen even though I was trying to prevent it was the thing that just made me say, I wonder if I said this out loud. Does anybody else have a story like that? But I realized very, very quickly that it can't just be the story itself. There's got to be something with it. There's got to be something that matters on a truer scale. Let's do another one. Back when I used to sync my videos and I still had my Wii and my piano up. Good times, good stuff. Man, would you believe it? I gotta make another video that supersedes all the other videos I had planned because y'all just literally do not know when to shut the fuck up. So I've been saying that for now 5 years. I've been saying the same thing for 5 years straight. I started getting really tight because as I'm obviously pandemic, everybody's online, I'm scrolling and I'm reading and I'm understanding more and more about like how people's, like I could see people fall for shit that in any given other circumstance that wasn't as bad as a pandemic, you shouldn't fall for. And after a while, I couldn't chalk it up to, oh, well, you know, people get caught up in stuff. They believe things. It was getting absurd. And one of the biggest points that was becoming absurd was unemployment. And people arguing about people having to go to work versus people who sit at home and collect checks. Now, throughout this video, work from home. You notice that nobody's really talking about people who work from home who have received who are receiving less hours, therefore less pay, blah blah blah. They can't claim unemployment one way or another. In a retrospective view, even though this isn't an edited part of the video, I do now realize that there is a way for you to claim it, but we're not going to talk about that because that's in theory illegal, but not illegal. It's just got to fudge with the numbers. Anyway, you motherfuckers sat here and said, so this person, probably this troll, said, people receiving this didn't want to work. One of our company employees was saying when the 600 ends, I'll come back. Other people said the same. They renewed their ad for 8 weeks in a row. The phone is dead silent. Nobody wants to work because getting salary plus extra 600 gets people a lot more. So why work when you can sit at home making over $1,000 a week? And it was bothering me because why is this conversation going in this direction? Why the fuck was this world going in that direction? Why are we having You want that stimmy now, right? You want that unemployment now, right? Why should I have to do something if there's another option that allows me to spend more time doing what I love and getting paid? That's like the dumbest. That's the point of life. Like, the whole point of the capitalist dream is to let your money work for you. Well, now the government's helping me with that. Why we got an issue? Why we tripping? Find another job. There are jobs that are not out there. Oh, you should go work in plumbing, construction, any of those jobs. Those are hiring. Not everybody is equipped for that. And throughout this, I started getting more and more angrier and angrier and angrier and angrier because I couldn't figure out where on earth this feeling was coming from.
But take a look at this one from 2018. It's the leaders of America's closest allies, all looking in one direction, and President Trump looking in another.
So I said, if the conversation is already macro, we're making these large swaths of opinions at large amounts of people, let's talk about the country as a whole.
It's just a photo, but it speaks to one of the biggest questions in the world right now. Almost 70 years ago, the US built a network of alliances that helped make it the most powerful country on Earth. But
now, I don't have to go through this as a recap for season 1, but I was laying the groundwork for, I understand things on a macro level as well. That's not what I'm here for. I'm only justifying my voice to people. The point of season 1 was to explain to you how we got here. How I ended up deciding that I wanted to put my voice out on the internet and have it consistently heard. I would argue things about UBI and why capitalism causes more harm than it solves. Why transportation was failing in America. How does empathy guide our decisions? And besides that, and they got none of it. They got none of it. That's why we can't do the same. Because you took what we built and built off of it. We want what we built and to build off of it. But the last time we tried that, we got massacred in a city known as Tulsa.
My grandfather built this country, man. He fought wars for it. And most places he went wouldn't let him sit down and get a cup of coffee.
I have replayed this clip so many fucking times at this point that it's become a mainstay in what I do here. But back then, I didn't see a streamer, I didn't see a YouTuber focused the way I was focused on making these, like, long points. If I bring up a topic, I'm going to spend the next 25 minutes pretty much video essaying you in real time for you to see how my thought process gets me to this conclusion. I do not come with preconceived notions because I hate the world. I've experienced the world, and here is my experience when applied to other people in other places. If it doesn't fit the mold, we figure out why, and if it does, we figure out why. This meaningful question just keeps coming up. Why? Why do you think this way? So before I ask my audience that didn't exist at that time, why do you think this way? I said, okay, I'll answer. That's fine, I can answer. I can do that. I can answer. I can answer for you. Y'all remember segregation? Like, that was a thing. That was a thing. People say, don't forget the sins of the past, or forget the sins of the past. Why are you worried about that? It's over, right? And it's like, yeah, but there are still people who existed, like my dad, who existed during that time, and then it was just over. The same way COVID was during a time, and now it's just over. So over a period of time, you realize, yeah, the event is over, but what did you learn from it? And through that, I began to create a thread. This is how the seasons began to be. This is how the seasons became to be. Came to be, not became to be. I don't fucking know. This is all unedited. I'm uploading this shit raw. Oh, if I make a large point, Inside of that point are little questions and markers I have to hit. Take those markers, pull a few down, and see if they can apply to a different point. If they apply to a different point, how do I weave the two together? Then I start building the net around which, okay, now I don't even have to build from 1 point's threads. Now I have a whole tapestry, and I can take portions of the tapestry and weave from there. Intersectionality, since I'm black, I was born with it, allows me to say, okay, now I can look at somebody like Joe Rogan.
Are you taking it?
I'll take it if it works. If I feel that the doctors have all gotten their opinions behind it, and they think, you know what it is like an mRNA vaccine, this new vaccine. It makes your body think that it doesn't introduce actual COVID into your system and you fight it off. It makes your body think that it's COVID, and your body builds the proper proteins to fight it off.
Oh, that's interesting.
The guy explained it to us yesterday, Nicholas Christakis. He's from Yale.
He's a soybean boy.
Thinks,
he likes soybean.
No, he doesn't. He's a good man. He thinks
He's a soybean boy.
He's a great man, and I won't let you disparage him like that.
No, I'm not disparaging him. He's certain niggas is soybean motherfucker.
He's a doctor.
Okay, Dr. Soybean.
Anyway, he thinks the vaccine will be very effective, and even if it doesn't keep you from getting it, it'll prevent, or hopefully prevent, you from getting a bad case of it. I don't know though.
So what would you need?
Things.
Would you need just the consensus of a body of doctors you trust
and people's experiences? Because people have already taken it. So if people have taken it, like, what is the experience? They say that they, had they felt like shit for a few days. That's it. Yeah. Now, is that true? I mean, who are they? Have you talked to them? What's a few days? And what do you mean by feel like shit? Like, did you try running 4 days later and you still felt terrible? Like.
So wait, apparently they're distributing this vaccine almost now, right?
I don't think it's totally ready, but it very soon will be ready. And if it's effective, they're going to encourage people to take it. It makes people real nervous.
They're going to have it for like doctors and like essential people at the beginning of it.
First. And then it's going to probably people that are high risk, like older
folks. Yeah, but the thing is, it's going to have people have a sense of like there is something that could be done now. Like it's a sense of hope. It's a sense of progress. It's a sense of.
So now you can see a little bit into what I was watching back then. I was already aware of a right-wing ecosphere. None of these people were that deep into it. That I can promise you. There were people in the trenches now, but not everybody was that deep into it, especially people that were around me. So when I heard my friend Melissa come on this stream and say, yeah, I listen to Joe Rogan, I don't trust the vaccine, this and that. My first thought is, H-bomber guy, you trust me enough. I don't know how to tell you, no, you're just being lied to. Like, just raw being lied to. No matter what you see, no matter how much, like, evidence you're being lied to by a very small subsect of humanity. How do I break that down? At this point, I knew I didn't have the catalog. I didn't have the catalog to go to random people that I knew and say, hey, this is a little off. So I took that as the message for season 1. If I'm going to weave an entire tapestry of ideas around one central key point, it has to be a key point that not only relates to me, but to people that know me. To people that know me. They know that I'm not approaching this like, he got radicalized by the left-wing pipeline and now he thinks he's a social justice warrior and da-da-da this and da-da-da that. No. You know I'm the same Marquise. I'm just talking more. You've always known that I was good with the words. Now hear me discuss an idea. Maybe something that you're not comfortable hearing. But you're willing to hear it because it's me, and I don't take that trust lightly. So now I'm going to approach bigger people who have centers of ideas and try to ponder to an audience, why? We need to ask why. And in order to ask why, I can't just tell you why, because that's fucked up. You don't know me from a hole in the wall. Who am I with 2 viewers and 34 followers? Why should you listen to me? What is this setup? What is these borders? This shit look whack. Why are we listening to you? That's your why. What if I could weave that why in the tapestry of my why? And from that, you will naturally tell me why. Because you don't feel it, but I am questioning you. And because you're not used to being questioned, you will fold under questioning. Season 1. Why am I here? Why should you trust me? Why Paradigm? But you can't just say that. You have to add something to it. So I said, sure, I'm not going to stream every day, but what I am going to do is try to get a segment out. If it's just me chilling after I smoke and I'm in the room calm.
Okay. It's time for this, time for that. And I can speak from like being a New Yorker. I think that we're so driven to go place to place, do this to that, get in a routine. I think all of us are like built-in routines. And we're very scared of when that routine changes. I mean, for one, it's easy to say like, okay, the routine changed because I switched jobs or I'm moving or this or that, but it's very hard to even deal with that change. Like, you like moving if you're like getting married or have a new job, or you have the funds to be able to move, let's say, to a different state. You're ready for a new set of, you're ready for a new set of experiences. And I don't think that when the pandemic started, I don't think for a lot of people that they thought anything was going to break their stride. So things that are unmanageable, things that are unfathomable, like a virus ravaging the land doesn't feel like something that's happened. Even though we know we've had smaller epidemics, like we've never had like a worldwide issue. So we have to think of everybody now. Oh my God, that person's dying. Oh my God, this person said this. Oh my God, this, like, and it's just so much that you just get fed up with it. So you lock yourself in another system, another routine. And I
Gotta get up and get my Slack messages. Gotta get up and log in. Gotta see what's happening. Wonder what they emailed me. You had no time to prep for it. Everybody was just told, we're going online, we're going remote. And all of a sudden, that was just supposed to be what you did. So you held on to the biggest hope you could. 2 weeks to slow the spread, which should have worked in theory. Of course, we didn't have the infrastructure to manage that. You watched it drag on. You watch people's personalities change. You're dealing with the world changing while people are dying en masse. And you are talking to somebody who knows. First and foremost, y'all have seen the stories. I don't have to justify this anymore. How many people I know of and were close to that died over the span of time of March 2020 all the way to fucking March 2025. All right? You see me getting a little choked up even thinking about it? Shut the fuck up. Death is not a concept to me, because the empathy that I feel pouring out of my soul to tell people's stories has been rejected by people who have watched me talk about it and say, I'm using my friend's death as a... It's like, I went to the funeral. None of y'all did. Y'all didn't even know who this person was until it. Like, you don't know the dynamic. You don't know the relation. You just viewing it from the outside. And it broke me in the future. The reason why it broke me in the future, present tense me talking about it here, is because back then I knew this was going to happen. A quote that I think a lot of people have heard. I'm not sure who to attribute it to. You could tell me in the comments down below who said it. My fear is that the United States and the world at large will do enough prevention that it will feel like nothing has happened at all. And people will resent that fact and feel like they didn't need their lives shut away for something that barely had any effect. When the whole point is to mitigate the effect, so it feels that way. I end up with survivor's guilt because everyone around me is literally dying. Every one of my father's friends that he would have called between now and 10 years ago has passed away. He's got like maybe 2 or 3 more and maybe some work buddies. And even he's thinking about retiring then. His whole world changed. I'm living with him. My whole world changed. I've got students now. Young kids, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Their world changed. Everybody's world is changing. And I'm told to approach it the same way. That'll fuck with a kid's head. That'll definitely fuck with a teenager's head. What could that possibly do to the most stable adult in the world? Now, for stay-at-home mothers, stay-at-home parents, but we're going to be misogynistic just for us to make the point clear. For stay-at-home mothers, people thought, this is going to be great. Now you can get, domestic violence went up. I wonder why! People got to see more of each other, so your quirks piss me off more. And it's not, what am I supposed to do? Go outside to the front, and go outside to the lawn and tell you, I'm just taking an 8-hour break from you because I need it? Every sentence you spoke had different meaning, different flavor, different weight to it. The U.S. can't handle COVID. You don't know what to do during mass shootings. You don't know what to do during school shootings. Watching people drop like flies slowly probably won't get you. So now for me, I've witnessed death in my lifetime, but not on this scale. Not with friends of mine. Not real niggas that I was piecing it up with a month ago, talking about gone but not forgotten. People get lucky to live in the hood, maybe be involved in some shit and see 3-4 niggas die. I'm watching 10s at a time. My calendar's stacking up with invites to Zoom funerals. Nope, I gotta keep going. Because somewhere down the road, somebody who's had one death is gonna say to me, does your deaths, like, because you've had so many around you, matter more than my one? And I'm gonna say no. I just have the purest empathy to tell you that one weighs just probably as much as those hundreds do on me. And now we can talk from the same position. Then this happened. I can't believe I still have 7 people watching this shit. My average about to hit. Oh, guys, it happened. Guys, it fucking happened. Oh, shit. I am an affiliate. Worst day of my fucking life, man. Worst day of my fucking life. I was sucked into I can do this. I can do this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Let's
I
go.
made it.
Congrats.
How does that happen?
So
You have to
much.
hit a certain number?
Remember when I used to talk to people? Remember when I was outside? Remember when I was outside? Remember when I was outside? I used to be outside, chat. I used to be outside. Why I keep clicking out of the playlist?
Okay.
Mad weird. So after that, I started doing longer and longer segments, trying to explain deeper and deeper and deeper. And then they stormed the Capitol.
Yeah, get into it.
I spent the time of my life, an hour, going through doing the entire 1776 declaration, because I said, okay, people are watching me. Now I got 104 followers. I got chatters. I got people coming in being like, yo, what's good? Heard you was on that shit. Okay, so how about I take myself out of my comfort zone and try to give you a why based on something that's happening right now? Declarations.
It's normal now. I have had those things. They did those things in worse fashion. They were forcing businesses to open.
For me, conservatism is dead. Here's why. I spent 46 minutes explaining, okay, now I'm going to take larger positions. Remember the why? Well, what's the end of that video? For me, conservatism is dead. Here's why. Okay. Okay. Gonna keep going through pieces and parts. Pieces. And then I started doing dissertations. Trans people should not have to exist to your standards. People who shouldn't be taken seriously. A lot of dog whistling. Why do we paint cop shootings as the victim's fault? Ben Shapiro thinks the woke mob charged Derek Chauvin. The American prison system is modern day slavery. This was the video that got me picked up by the Tammy Mac Late Show.
Okay, so there's 3 more topics to cover. Thank you. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do me a favor. Hit that bell to stay notified. Hit the like button. Hit subscribe. If I get to 100 subscribers, I'm going to flip out and do coke on stream. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Jesus Christ. I hear the yelling. Stop.
Same person. Same thing.
So there's a guy. We need to talk.
Was a giant meme, and he has had one of the longest run.
Oh wow, Mudahar from before. That's crazy. Oh, I went further, however. Okay. Why don't I talk about Palestine? Andrew Yang in 2021 said, I'm standing with the people of Israel who are coming under bombardment attacks and condemn the Hamas terrorists. The people of NYC will always stand with our brothers and sisters in Israel who face down terrorism and persevere. And Sami Zayn replied all those years ago and said, maybe not the most tasteful statement to make within hours of Israel bombing Gaza and killing 20 Palestinians, 9 of whom were children. But then again, I'm not a soulless piece of shit politician, so what do I know? So now you see, this video right here is what set me off the deep end. No, seriously. Because right around this time, a lot of different shit was going on. A lot of different shit in my life was going on. A lot. And what had pissed me off was, I'm not too well versed in Israel-Palestine, but I also know that we have a lot of Islamophobia in this country. And it really feels weird that the people of NYC are going to stand with our brothers and sisters in Israel.
Oh boy. All right. Yeah. But he's still going to get the nomination. Yo.
I was there already. I knew what needed to be said already.
This thing happening. This one right here. So it's effectively like a back and forth situation. Anyway, because I want to keep this short because I don't want to throw. Just don't say shit like this. You are taking the literal killing of human beings, of children,
and using it to score political points with, and I hate saying this out fucking loud because people take so much offense to this, but you're trying to capture the conservative Brooklyn Jews. Like, I know. Now, far be it from me to say, oh shit, 4 years ago, you kind of saw this coming. But, you know, I guess I should just bring back the rhyme scheme, right? So I had already established myself and my positions. I also knew, however, that people weren't going to consistently tune in to what the fuck that was actually going to be at some point or another. You gotta go fucking deeper then, man. So what I noticed as I was perusing the news today is that there wasn't too much on the front of like anything that was like, you know, major standing. And then there was this random thing I saw about critical race theory. And I covered a segment on as it intersects with the issues of race. Missing that, I went into the book. There's an underlying foundation of how we've built this. Hey, Destiny. Hey, Destiny. You see? You could read books. There are books. You don't have to do Wikipedia all the time. You do books. I did books. I did books with 0.00002% of the audience you have. Focuses on whiteness, but it focuses on it without like the preconceived bias of it was done specifically for like, okay, I don't want to make, like, there is no summation of white guilt. There is a underlying foundation of how we've built this society in America where it naturally favors whiteness by limiting what others could do. Stay on the subject. Bless you. I love that. I love the hook. You tell me that critical race theory. Oh, man. Allergies was kicking in. I just went outside, so obviously allergies are gonna kick up. Wow. Thought I had time. Wow. Burn me. In before we're wearing the same shirt. No, I'm not that good. I got this shirt like 2024, 2024, 2025. Theory does this and does this. 3 years, 2 months, 5 days, and 21 hours. Feeding me into like how negative it is and then what it is. It seeks to solve concerns about racial inequality. Okay, and the problem sounds based, but instead of solving problems, it creates new ones. Why did they use two chickens fighting in the background? I was like, yo, I want to be so straightforward. I want to be, you know, educated. It's just so funny. It promotes the belief it's a fundamentally racist country. Then puts the forefathers of the country in Mount Rushmore in the background. You're clever. I get that. See, you almost had me. America's a fundamentally racist country. Like, didn't these people own slaves and have the teeth of slaves? And then like one dude freed the slaves because it was a good political move. Like, I don't think the quiet part out loud. The law designed to maintain white supremacy, and that all of our institutions are designed to maintain white supremacy. Okay, white supremacy is a trigger, not a dog whistle. It's a catch. It's a hook, because white supremacy doesn't mean Nazism. White supremacy does not mean the KKK. I mean, those are the extreme forms of it, but white supremacy is more like white people are the supreme beings, and therefore they are coddled by every institution. What do you mean by every institution? Like the law, yes. The society as a whole sees two white dudes walking down the street and doesn't clutch their purse. So I said, fuck it. Audience, let's see if I can continue this. Why are they lying to you about critical race theory? Who's lying to you about critical race? Hey, what's up, YouTube? Theory? Before you click on this video and you immediately start trashing down the hate, hit that like button at least, hit that subscribe button to stay notified, and hit that bell so you know, because this channel uploads daily and I am live Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, so you should. So Then I said, okay, sure. I will tell you the 5 pitfalls you will face emotionally as a content creator. I will click randomly to one of my favorite times on earth, 12:40, and let's see what I happen to have to say here.
and barely anybody knows I do poetry. But every single person that has ever come in contact with me knows I do poetry. So Marquise, why aren't you doing like Poetry Tuesdays or like, why do you stick to this insane schedule that you made for yourself and then blame other people and the algorithm and the part 5? Self-doubt becomes self-incrimination. Not my poetry.
I wonder if I've spoken about this with other creators live on this platform before. Because I had a reference.
Okay.
They're teaching incorrect grammar to give a kid whatever gender pronoun they want.
Incorrect grammar.
Psychology tells you that when you're talking about sexuality with kids, their brains are not developed. You have to raise a child, you rear a child. They don't know about sexuality. When an adult pushes some kinky sexual ideas upon them, it winds up grooming them to believe whatever the adult tells them.
Those are certainly words. Let's break down that train of thought here.
They don't know about sexuality. When an adult pushes some kinky sexual ideas upon them, it winds up grooming them to believe whatever the adult tells them.
Remember in this video just a few seconds ago how he said they're teaching them incorrect grammar? Now you might say this is clipped out of context, but remember, this is the context that the people who are agreeing with him provided. Therefore, everything in this video must have something to do with the format of getting you to believe what is being said. How is incorrect grammar anything to do with kinky sexual, what? That ends up grooming the child into thinking whatever the adult wants them to believe? So what would be the opposite of that?
So this is the video by Brain Pop that our kids are spending hours in front of. This is what they're telling them about the pronouns. And ACT already gave the kids the opportunity to choose their own gender when they took the ACT. I got pictures of the forms.
They let the kids pick their own gender. So you think one of the kids was just like, LOL, I'm Z now.
Like meet Moby and Orbot. They are my best friends. Actually, yeah, they can be used as a singular pronoun too. Like if...
Oh, he said, he a teacher? He a teacher? Where my Spanish speaking people at? Usted. He just said that's not real.
Amazing.
I want to talk to you real quick about I want to bring back up the border crisis. Obviously, at this point, you know that there are two differing sides to this, and I'm going to show you why the centrist approach doesn't work here. It's the same reason why you can't two sides of the situation in Israel and Palestine, between Israel and Palestine. All right. Super short. Criminal alien arrest at the border. Year to date 21. Homicide 34. Assault battery 671. DUI 944. Sexual offenses 306. Burglary 452. Kamala Harris, do you still think the border crisis is funny? All right. Obviously, I commented already, so you know I was here. You fail it. I was just about to bring this up. I didn't even see this one. You fail at context. 32% of those statistics are the same people, which is what I was about to say. Wow, I'm so glad I read that fucking tweet before I started going on. I was like, okay.
I remember pineapple spoons back in the day. Love the too passionate to see as people will use instead of saying loud about the important shit.
Okay, so border crisis. When you say
damn, back when she used to be my friend, now she don't like me no more.
Things like they're bringing over criminals, they're bringing over your rapists. Can you add context to it? Because it reminds me of, again, the thing that I hate saying the most, that 1350 rule. 13% of the population commits 50% of the crime or murders or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, context. 32% of those statistics are the same people. Non-citizens may be convicted of multiple criminal offenses and are counted for each offense. You also fail scope and size. There's 2,407 incidents represent 0.3211% of the people who have crossed. Well done. And he drops the link. Added bonus, increased numbers of apprehensions means our border security is doing its job, right? Do Americans killed or wounded by shootings by other Americans next? Yeah. So when you think about the border crisis, or when you hear people talk about it as though like there's this mass influx of criminals, there's this mass influx of
remember, guys, that this is 4 years ago.
Of this, that, and the other, and we're so afraid and we're worried and it's crazy out here and this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. You hear all this, right? You hear all of it and you're like, well, what do I do? What am I supposed to think? If you start to notice that they're pinpointing like the negatives of the people that are coming over, ask yourself if there's any more context. No matter where people come from in this world, no matter where they end up, originate, blah, blah, there's always going to be bad actors. We have plenty of them in our country that are pure-blooded Americans.
Wow, it's been 4 years and my position hasn't changed not one fucking bit. And as a matter of fact, it's the crux on which our entire pretty much civilization as a whole in the United States is pretty much hinged on. Damn, son.
Ask for a little bit of context before you say, wow, I'm going to build an entire opinion on what's happening at the border based on what the GOP is saying. Now, the reason why I'm specifying the GOP, and this is why I said the centrist approach wouldn't work, is the GOP is highlighting nothing, as you just noticed with that tweet. The left will acknowledge it, but still say we need more humane border practices. Taking the centrist approach means you're going to have to agree with there are bad people.
Wow. Almost like Cagnadian never needed to tell me any of that shit in the first place, because I had already believed that before he even knew I existed. Oh, so you mean the joke about you picking on Cagnadian is not because of an in-meta thing, it's because he's reminding me of what I used to say out loud that I thought I wouldn't have to say anymore. Which means even in the back of that person who's been subscribed here for 20 months, even he don't trust me fully. Damn, man, it's almost as if I like paths this whole thing out to cover every single eventual person that would walk in here, because I know who I gravitate. I know what type of person likes me enough to listen to me for hours on end, tabbed up while he out there playing a video game. I be tabbed up while I'm listening to Hassan. You don't think I treat you, my 10 viewers, my 12 viewers, my 6 viewers, my 3 viewers since day one? I said, if you got a tab open for me, I'm not going to feed you no bullshit like playing a video game quiet for 12 hours and soaking up the views. No, you going to hear me.
And we should have more humane border practices, but you don't want to let them in anyway. See why the centrist approach doesn't work? Ask yourself that anytime you want to both sides, any type of conflict or any type of discussion in which the left and the right are both arguing. If it's about a social issue, an economic issue, ask yourself, what would be the middle approach? What is the compromise between getting a cake and being able to eat it? You'll notice that if you play the centrist role, the positions don't match up. You can't equalize them. Since you can't equalize them, you have no choice but to pick a side. You can agree or say there's merit to what you're saying in how you phrased it, but at the same time, you won't be able to say, yeah, I could be in the middle on this, because it doesn't work. It physically, logically does not work. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. If you hear something more about the border crisis, just think to yourself real quick, what is actually being said? What is actually happening? And how do I work through understanding like what I should be focused on and what I should be thinking about as opposed to anything else? Okay.
And here comes what people consider to be the best video I've ever done of all time.
Tropic Thunder. Hell no. We had this conversation in 2016, in 2018, in 2019, and like right before the pandemic like really struck America. Twitter discourse was like, should we cancel our DJ? He was playing blackface. How dumb can you get? Why would you support a man? Or just because he's cool and he plays Iron Man and he's part of the Avengers, you don't think that's a little racist? Look, what do you want? A deep dive? So here, I have decided to break apart from my normal thing, and we're gonna do a small dive into quite literally why you shouldn't think what you're thinking, but you think it anyway. Therefore, now I have to train you out of that train of thought.
Now, I wanted to highlight the beginning of this because obviously throughout this entire video, you're here for the recap of the season. And I think I've done a pretty good job. Yeah, this was going to take about an hour per each one. I would have loved to have sat through multiple videos of season 1 and done it this way, but I think this is more succinct because this was the general point I was trying to get at. If I see something on the internet, see you soon. If I see something on the internet and it's in my wheelhouse to speak about it, I'm going to speak about it. I want you to trust me blindly here. Not because I'm asking you to. I will prove it to you. Just once I prove it to you, don't ask me why a second time. That's it. That's all I want. Don't ask me why a second time. If you ask me why a second time, that means I'm not doing my job good enough. Simple as that. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. So I started making longer video essays. I started doing more things, more thumbnails, making more declarations, talking about myself just a little bit more. And season 1 effectively ended when I made this video. Drug abuse and codependency, a story of growing up in a broken home. Now, in the past, I would never have approached this in public because my dad was always hawking behind my shoulder, and he would always say things like, don't tell people about your business, you know, you keep that in-house shit. I don't need people knowing about this, that, and the other. And at the end of the day, I realized that he's just ashamed. And there won't be any time between me and my father to fix that feeling of shame. That just won't be happening anytime soon. And I've had to come to grips with that, understanding what that actually means. What does it mean when you can't get answers from someone who raised you? What does it mean when you can't get answers from someone you care about? How do you move forward? So I will tell you what I envisioned in my eyes the day I decided to come up with the idea of the paradigm shift, which was effectively known as the P shift back in the day, or just P shift. It really was just P shift. I envisioned a night. It is a nice, cool, maybe 61 degrees. The sun has set enough that it still casts a glow over your area, but what's really lighting everything up are these nice yellow bulbs on the street. They're not hanging above high like street lamps. They're hanging low like they're in the trees. And it's quiet, peaceful enough, just quiet enough that you can hear the trees rustling in the wind, but there's still children's laughter. And there's still, you can hear the stories of people as you're going through the park on your way home. And as you're walking on the streets after you get out of the park, you see a couple people hanging out over there. You see it, but it's a nice, almost like closed community, but it's the city still. And it's just that tinge of, you take that first step, you smell that autumn air, and for some reason, you say to yourself, a lot of time has passed in my life. This moment, this point, this experience, this feeling freezes you indefinitely, sticks you in a place you never thought you were going to be in. And you decide right then and there whether or not you're proud of yourself for how far you've made it. And right at that point in time, you can now look at what's to come and what has passed. Are you okay with the person you became? That's what got me here for season 1. That was the thesis. If I show you who I am and react to things on the spot, things that you might feel, oh man, that makes me feel that way, and that motherfucker's saying exactly how I feel. What does that do for us 5 years down the road? If you spend your money here, why? If you like the sound of my voice, why? If you agree with my points, why? You will not trust me blindly. You will naturally feel yourself working to make sure I'm not crazy, because you don't want to be considered crazy. That's what got me here. If we are gifts, then we are bones. And I need to see that perfect temperature, that perfect sunset, that perfect light, and I need to be able to know that I put myself there by being me. However I felt on day 2, on day 3, on day 4, on day 5, on day 6, on day 7, on day 146. That is how I felt about myself. And that's what got me to where I'm at today. Season 1 was explaining to you what got me to the top. Top of my game, top of my class, soon to be top of the charts, but we'll see what happens there. Everybody wants attention in this ecosphere. Everybody wants attention. Everybody wants to have their voices heard, but not everybody wants that spotlight. Not everybody want a main event WrestleMania when they've never wrestled a match in their life. Nobody want to get up on a mic and talk to 10,000 people every night for 6 nights straight. But some people do, and I happen to be one of them. Before I tell you that you should give me all the medals, I should tell you what got me here. Don't you think? That's been the recap for season 1. You can imagine how much information I compressed within 1 hour. It was supposed to take 4 hours. You should feel blessed. You should feel enjoyed. You should hit that like and subscribe if you made it that far. And if you made it this far, type in the number 01875498663. Read the transcript. Don't make it hard on yourself. And I will give you my credit card information. That's right. I know that the person who types in these numbers is actually John Wick. And you need my help to win the victory, the victory royale. I've got you, bro. I said I was going to give you my credit card number. I never said anything about the 3 digits on the back or the expiration date. Aha, you lose. Paradigm shift. We out. They said it couldn't be done. They said there was no way we would return in force. They told us we were liars. Bad faith. That we couldn't achieve our mission here. Tonight. Gentlemen, let's show them why they were wrong. Breaking, latest forensic audit was tagged with Patriot News. His news is Patriot News. Twitter from a link that's suspected. That man Bernie Sanders is terrible. He's the one who's trying to destroy America with a righteous belief that you should pay people more for their job, and that's just not true. You should be paid on the skill of your labor. You should be paid by the energy you actually put into your job. Put in those hours. Show your boss that you can actually do something for the company, and they will promote you to the highest ranks, and you will make all the money.
And insurrection and terror attacks across the country.
Oh my fucking God.
About those, those blacks who are complaining, and the others who are grandstanding on
to. And when we try to yell out yo, maybe you should care, y'all don't give a shit. But we give a shit about this so much that we're here talking about it. Silly rabbit tricks of the kids.
Infrastructure is a communist buzzword, and Trump had the economy going until